Okay, now with regard to draining, we've been futzing around and futzing around and futzing around. We finally, leaving the toilet. It has been in the background of several videos now, but it is in fact connected. The flange is not glued in because your flange really should sit on top of your finished floor, at least the first time you finish the floor. You can finish the floor around it a couple times later on, but it's just a best practice. So the flange can be removed. I think it's just, I screwed it down, but everything else is welded up together, and the vent runs over here and jumps into this vent and goes out. And then our sink comes in and our vent comes over from our kitchen sink and stuff there. So there's the toilet that goes out there, which it's suspended. Where do we do it? Right there. Nice and tight. We got it away from the dirt until we get out from underneath the structure, and all of our other existing drains are all tied in here, showers ready, etc. At this point we're doing stub outs for water, which is just this component here. It's just a spun off copper that you'll cut it off later. You'll have it'll be finished out of the wall. This is the one for the toilet water supply. Turned up. All the water is going to come down from above and just continue to come down all the way to its fixture here in an effort to be able to drain this more easily. But it's called a stub out, and it's ready for 1/2-inch PEX. So it can be mounted rigid with typical 1/2-inch copper straps and the elevation, the location that you desire. I like to put all my, it's a best practice again, you get everything. I put the toilet connection where I want it, the shower where I want it, and then you build the plumbing to those locations instead of trying to just set out and get there. It won't work. So I'm going to place all of these water locations. We need a pair for the sink, hot and cold, here and here, just above the faucet's normally 8 inches. Hot to cold handles are 8 inches spread on center. So I like to put my water takeoffs or stub outs about 8 inches apart, just a little above the drain, so they still are underneath the surface of the sink. So that'll be that, and we got to put some here. I'll need to do some blocking, which I have done here. So the blocking will be what I strap to and what the stub out comes off of, because out in the wall bay I don't have if it ends up right next to a stud, obviously I'll stick to the stud, but I'll end up blocking like in this location to be on either side of the kitchen sink. And we have got the drain rolling around the center pier that has the carrying beam on it right here. It just does a little jig jog. And then we have another piece of 2 inches going to go over into the utility room. And the utility room, you'll access it behind the refrigerator. So the side-by-side 36-inch fridge will sit here, and it'll actually push into this opening in this knee wall that'll otherwise be covered starting here with drywall and have cabinets against it. But this will allow us to push the fridge in until the front of it is flush with the lower cabinets, which you'll notice in your house probably the fridge sticks out like that in front of the cabinets, because cabinets are about 24, the counter's 25, and the fridge is normally 30, 32, maybe greater. So this will let us send the fridge back to flush, which will be an interesting way to gain a little bit of room in here. But if you need to get into the utility room, you just roll the fridge out and you walk right back here through this opening into the utility room, which will be where the hot water tank is. So you notice water's coming across. I don't know if you can see, it's all gray. It's in insulation, but hot and cold is coming up from the utility room back here, and it's going along. It's actually got slope from this point all the way down, and then we go around the inside corner, and we continue to slope down, and we roll into a pair of manifolds here. And again, down, once you come out of the hot water tank, you're going to go up a hair, and all of that is downhill. When you drain the hot water tank, it'll go right out the drain. And then all of this, when you open fixtures and stuff, it'll roll all down. And the orientation of the manifold, everything drains completely out, so there's no water standing in the copper, and it'll drain out and around to the stub outs. And that's where we're hung up, because from the stub out, well, the water travels up to the sink faucet, and everything else just travels up. So I was hoping to be real cool and make this just something you could open the fixtures and turn off the water supply and everything would drain out because of gravity, but I will end up you'll need to come down with a tank of compressed air and pressurize the system to just push the rest out. It'll work because these manifolds that I bought pre-made, unlike in a previous project, are available in 4 or 6 connections. And the thing about this ordinary laundry full bath and kitchen, for cold water, you need water to the toilet, water to the kitchen sink, water to the bathroom sink, water to the shower, and water to the laundry machine. And with hot, you don't even need it to the toilet, so it's just to the bathroom sink, the kitchen sink, the shower, and the laundry. So there's 2 extra stubs unnecessary on the hot and 1 unnecessary on the cold. So what one of each will end up having is a a mounted ball valve, and then a little stub to compressed air. And you'll be able to bring down a little tank of compressed air with a chuck on the end of it, and you'll open another access panel in this wall, just like the one I plan to put. Where is it? Over here. One of these jobbers. So you got these little access panels here to the left of the kitchen sink. There'll be an access panel on the wall. You just take him off, and you just plug in with the little compressed air tank. You plug it into the system, and then you just crack the ball. After all the fixtures and stuff are open, you just crack the ball valve a couple times, and so the extra water that's from the takeoffs or the stub outs up the little water supply to the fixtures themselves for the 2 sinks, and maybe the mix valve for the shower. I'm not sure, but the laundry machines. Anyway, you can evacuate the last little bits of water with compressed air, and that'll just be how it has to be done. So this is manifold style again, so just 2 3/4 main lines from the hot water tank or from the water service itself, which comes to the hot water tank, etc. And then from here, this is a central location where we can run to the kitchen sink, we can run to the bathroom scenario, and we can go, we are going to have to go up again and then over to laundry because we got a door and a bunch of open space. We don't have anywhere to go. We could maybe carefully run along the top of that beam real sly, stuck to the top of where you can't see. Maybe that's what we'll do, but regardless, you're going to go up again and then down to a point. Anyway, it's been real tricky working in a seasonal property, making sure that once we close everything up, that there's a procedure that's kind of easy and smooth and intuitive, but that it actually accomplishes not leaving any standing water in here, because it will freeze and break components that are buried. So our drains on our traps have got thread to PEX, and then we'll put a hole through here, and we'll put the same sort of fitting on the bottom of the shower and on the bottom of the P-trap that's in the utility room under the hot water tank, and those will all go downhill that way by the jet pump. And so that'll be a central location again where you open those P-trap drains and they'll all piddle out water. The only trap that'll be left is the one that's right inside of a toilet. A toilet has a trap right in the cast component itself, so you'll have to put a little dab of RV antifreeze in the tank and flush it so that the trap stands with antifreeze in it all winter long. So there'll be a little procedure, but we're trying like crazy to make it easy. The hot water tank will sit here in one of these pans, which is pretty typical, but they normally drain out the side, and we're going to plug that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill through this and the floor, and I'm going to install a shower drain right, as though this was a shower base. I'm going to install a shower drain right in the middle of it and hard line it right into the drain coming through here. And so when it's time to drain the hot water tank, you don't have to go anywhere with this stupid pigtail or do anything weird like that. You just let her rip, and it'll just pee right out into this pan and right down the drain and right out with the rest of the gray water. And so, like I say, that trap will need a drain out as well to the front here under the porch where the jet pump is. But it's been a real situation, man. I was counting all these hole saw holes across here and around, all these hole saw holes through for the drains. And of course, I'm not done making them. All the hole saw holes through for this electrical service and all this over here. We're closing in on 100 holes. That's through, I count each 1.5-inch layer, each 1.5-inch here's a pair, so that's 1, 2. I hole saw holes, I had to do them. That's how I'm counting them. But there's been 100 here, so there's 100 of these stupid little things, these ankle busters here. When you come off the ladder and you step on him and he rolls, and you break your ankle, there's 100 of those sitting around my job site, and it's quite a lot messier than I normally like things. But you know, what are you going to do when you're working? You're working. So we are going to clean up here for the weekend, but we got that insulated all the way around. The corners won't be because they have bend protection. I got bend protection on the lower one. It's a device that you that'll control and force PEX. This is for 3/4, but it'll force it to do the smallest 90 degrees basically that it can do without kinking over, and it'll support it. And we do need them here because this is an inside corner, and if you look up, you can see that Blue, he's out of the way right here, but whoa, he's out of the way right here, but Red is in our way here, so we're using these to force it to do that bend. So, it's just been a lot of, this is one of those weeks that goes by and it's like framing and removing ceilings makes big physical apparent changes, but plumbing sometimes it just kind of one foot in front of the other, just kind of goes right along, and all of a sudden it's done, but nothing really looks significantly different. So I've been holding off on an update with that, but I suppose it's a good call now to check it out, and then we'll come back and see it when kind of everything's working before we cover it up with insulation and drywall. All right, we'll see ya.